Hey guys, it's Pierre Laguerre here with episode number 34. Yesterday we spoke about how to release your spiritual authority, and today's episode is pretty much a continuation, but I'm calling it how to release your faith. And pretty much the whole point here is when you go back to the centurion that approached Jesus, he spoke to Jesus about understanding something about being under authority and working with people under him that are under his authority. And again, if you're not under authority, you cannot exercise authority. It's just the way everything works, right? You have to be under authority to have authority in the first place. So now this man came to Jesus and he told Jesus in Matthew 8 from verses 8 through 10, he basically told Jesus, Lord, I'm not worthy for you to come under my roof, right? But just say the word and my servant will be healed. So he understood the power of words. Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat the fruit thereof. Quoting the King James there for you. So when you think about it, if you are not seeing power, it's because you don't know how to release your authority. You see, the one thing in Mark 11, going back to Mark 11:23, Jesus said, if you speak to the mountain, the situation, the problem, whatever it is, sickness, disease, death, whatever it is, if you speak to that mountain and you tell it where to go, specifically tell it to put itself under the sea, right? Meaning disappear, completely eradicate that mountain, right? He said, you cannot have doubt in your heart. And go with me to Romans chapter 4, verses 17 to 20, where it's talking about Abraham's faith. There's a place where it says there that Abraham was fully convinced, fully persuaded. And I think when it comes to releasing your faith, you have to be fully convinced. You have to be fully persuaded. And the only thing that makes you fully convinced, like Abraham was, is when you understand that the power that God carries, which his angels actually come forth and administer right here on the earth, the power that he has, that power will come forth when you understand your authority. When you understand that you are his son, and of course, authority flows most importantly from identity. If you don't know who you are, you're not going to be able to walk in your authority. And you're always going to be a beggar, begging God to do something and thinking that the devil has the upper hand on you. And this is what we're finding. The church at large is weak because it does not know its authority. It does not know the delegated authority that has been given. And in some parts it does, but even in those parts, unfortunately, we're still fighting with an enemy that has been defeated. So we're fighting a war that Jesus already has won. And so our faith, releasing our faith, the enemy has to submit because he's already submitted to Jesus. He goes around like a warring lion seeking whom he may devour. It's because he knows he has no more power over you. So his whole thing is deception. Notice, like a warring lion. He's not a warring lion, but he's going to try to intimidate, right? And deceive. And the only way he's going to do that is because he knows he lacks power. So going back to Jesus's words, when you have no doubt in your heart, but you believe what you say, that will come to pass, then it will be done for you. Notice, you speak it, you release it, you command it, and you believe it's going to come to pass, and it shall be done for you. It will be done for you. You're not the one doing it, but you have to release words for it to be done for you. And I think this is where many people, they speak to God about the situation. Not once have we seen Jesus speak to God about the situation. He speaks to the situation. The only time he and God had a conversation that we can see clearly in the gospel is where he's been misquoted in the not my will, but yours be done. That famous passage that a lot of people are like, well, if it's God's will. When in reality, that's the only time Jesus spoke about God's will, but he was basically saying, look, I know what I'm going to go through. And nonetheless, it's not the will of my flesh because I know my flesh is going to get hurt in this. I know I'm going to be the sacrifice, right? But your will, what we decided from before the foundation of the world, when we decided I would come down and be the lamb that would be absolutely sacrificed. right? The sacrificial lamb for the sins of my people, right? So here, to keep this short, releasing your faith has a lot to do with being convinced, fully convinced. And that's all there is to it. If you're not fully convinced, you're not yet in faith. You don't have to convince yourself. You just have to be fully convinced. Fully convinced that the shirt I'm wearing is blue, that's fully convinced, right? Now, if you see it's green, maybe you're calling it pastel or anything like that, at least it's a color you know, but you're fully convinced of that color. But one thing for sure, right, is that I'm here on this screen in front of you. You're fully convinced of that. So there are things people cannot lie to you. So the enemy, he's going to try to speak to, did God say? Did God say? Your part is to be fully convinced that God is able to do what he said he would do. And that's what made Abraham the father of faith. You can release your faith when you are fully convinced. Once you know that, just like that centurion, you can approach the situation knowing that you're fully convinced, and it shall happen. Again, it's Pierre Laguerre. If you're watching on YouTube right now, go ahead, like and subscribe so I can bring you more of these. Again, this is episode number 34. I've got 66 more episodes to bring forth in the 100-day challenge that I'm doing. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And of course, don't forget to comment and let me know any questions or any commentary, of course, you might have. Thank you so much. I'll see you next. Bye.